There's a huge disco party that's going on this weekend. The Disco Oasis is being built right now in Central Park with crystal balls and all kinds of stuff. A couple more days of construction maybe, but I think this weekend is where the Disco Oasis party is, and we're into disco. So
I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to pop over between a few slides and then some company pages and whatnot. So give me one moment here. I thought about playing the Mission Impossible theme song while I was doing this, but then I figured YouTube would probably be like, oh, you violated the DMCA thing. Okay, so spying on your competitors. This is what we're going to be diving into today. So corporate espionage is, why can't I talk? Corporate espionage, nothing new, right? So there's a great podcast actually called Business Wars. Awesome stuff in there. So spying on your competitors is nothing new under the sun. And we don't want to, like, go to a dark place and be all shady, but I have no problem looking at businesses who are just a little bit farther ahead of me, or if we have a client, like, who are your biggest competitors? Like maybe they're on the same page, maybe they're just a year or two farther along. I have no problem just kind of taking a look at what they're doing to save ourselves a lot of work and time and money and be smart. And so there's a lot that you can do on LinkedIn and other places as well, but we're going to do LinkedIn. So I do want to just point out that if you're a small business owner, if you're a startup, or you're working with either, no one has time and money to waste when they're growing their business. I mean, those are the two commodities. You could probably even lump them together and just say that, time is money and money's time. But no one has an abundance of time and money to just be all loosey-goosey when they're in startup mode or still like, a small business. And so what you might do is you might go, hey, let's be smart with this new initiative or this new go-to-market strategy or this new whatever. Let's be smart and maybe do market research. And so that's kind of one route that people go. And market research, it maybe shortens things a little bit, so it's faster, but it's still expensive, right? And so if you're a startup, you might not have the money to pay someone to do market research, and you could maybe do it yourself, and it's going to take a long time. Or if you do hire a firm out, it's still going to take time. So like someone else might have already learned it. You know what I mean? Like, why do that if it's unnecessary? And then you've got another kind of camp who goes, well, we don't really have the money to do any kind of market research, so let's do trial and error. And so trial and error, it's perceived that it's cheaper, and that sometimes can be true, but it does take time. And trial and error can be more expensive than you realize, because there's a lot of hidden cost with trial and error, right? So the hidden cost could be just slowly rolled out, a bunch of wasted ad revenue, a bunch of wasted this, wasted that. And then you've got your kind of all the opportunities missed along the way because it just took you a long time to grow. So you could go the route of trial and error. Again, takes time, expensive. What I usually tell people is, if they're still trying to figure out, who really do I sell to, or who, what should my ad copy be, or how should I do this, or when should I hire this kind of person? I'll just tell them, if you don't have, like, priority one, draw from what you already know about your clients and everything internally. And then once you've kind of exhausted that, instead of reinventing the wheel, like, really just look to people who are your competitors just a little bit ahead of you. And I feel like a lot of folks don't kind of go there naturally, but there's some really cool things that you can learn. And so since LinkedIn, like, obviously you could do this on Facebook, LinkedIn, you could do it on Instagram, you could do it, on Google, on their website, whatever. There's a lot of different places that you can look. So LinkedIn being a social platform largely used by the business community. And if your focus here is business, there's just a lot of really awesome information that you can get, because it's all kind of public, right? It's all kind of out there. So here are 5 things that we're going to kind of look at here. And I'm just going to jump between this slide and then back and forth between LinkedIn as we go through them. We're going to be looking at ad copy, a couple boilerplate things here. So ad copy, LinkedIn ads are dang expensive. So if somebody is running an ad, probably is working, right? Or jump back like a month or two later and see if it's still going or not, unless they're just okay with flushing a crazy amount of money down the toilet. So ad copy is something we're going to look at. Marketing funnel, if somebody if a business is running an ad, or if a business is doing something in their post, like an organic post, what is the destination? Like what's the funnel look like? Is it a download? Is it a demo? Is it a event? What's a marketing funnel look like there? Maybe they found something that works that you should be doing. You could get ideas for topic content, right? When to hire, like maybe they're just ahead of you. What's the next role that you need to offload, and you hadn't maybe thought about it? And then public leadership activities, like what's the owner and all of the senior leadership, what are they saying publicly to like represent the brand, and what are they into? Obviously you don't want to be a copycat, but there's some cool things that you can look at there as well. So let's look at this first one here, ad copy. And I'm gonna kind of zip through these because there are 5, and I want to make sure that we have time for panelists and open Q&A, because I want to hear what you all have done as well. So if you go to a company page and then you go to posts and then ads, you can see all of the ads that they are running. And there's if you want to like go down this rabbit hole, there's a lot that you can learn by looking at what a company is doing for all of their copy, like all of their content, compared to their ads. Like for example, startups.com, I see their ads all the time. And look at this. This is their normal just posts. You've got one here 4 months ago, one 8 months ago, and that's all I'm seeing. If I try to go around, if I go to ads, look at all these ads they've got going on. They've got a lot going on. So if you are a competitor to startups.com, maybe there's something to learn there. And then once you look at this, you go, all right, well, a smart advertiser is going to be doing some kind of, actually, let's back it up. I was going to talk about call to action, but let's talk about copy, right? So for an ad to be effective, the copy needs to be on point with the target audience. So we don't know exactly who an ad is targeting. You can maybe make some guesses from the ad copy, but like, let's look at this here and say, all right, tired of going it alone as a founder. So founders, there you go. That's interesting. Maybe this language is good for you. Maybe they've really worked through how to communicate to founder and what matters to a founder, the pain points of a founder. Let's go down here and say, like I've seen this ad for sure a bunch of times. So I'm now looking at this and going, oh, these two are kind of the same. Are they doing a split test here? What's going on? So I'm going to do see more. Tired of going alone, currently curating 8 to 12. What's this one say? That looks like it might be, that's probably the same exact ad for 2 different audiences. Sometimes you'll see a slight variation, like, oh, look at that. Tired of going alone as founder. So here they're maybe doing 2 different images. Now, which communicates better? This is like a negative focus, like, oh, I'm a founder and I'm just, oh, I'm at my wit's end, right? Or is this going to be more appealing where it's like, hey, we're here to help you? Like what's a founder more drawn to? These are things they're probably trying to figure out. And if you've not kind of thought through that, that might be something worth, investigating for you as you're creating all of your copy, all of your imagery, all that jazz, especially for ads. And then going down a little bit farther, let's see if they've got any kind of call to actions. Well, let's jump over to another page. So this is education dynamics. Let's go to, actually, let's look at their organic post first. So these folks, so this is all their ads. Let's go to all their posts. A day ago, a week ago, 5 days ago. So they're quite a bit more active. That's interesting. And then we'll talk about social content in a minute. Let's compare that to what they're doing with ads. So on ads, I'm seeing some of the same stuff, right? I remember seeing this, but I'm looking at here, get an in-depth understanding. Actually, let's look at the pictures first. 2022 online college students report. 2022 online college students report. So these are different. Like this has the download the report. I'll look at that. There's no download the report. That's interesting. So this is go to the same place. Let's see. Let's click this. It's going to be this first tab. And now let's go to this second one. So this one has the download call to action. This one does not, but it's the same destination. So what they're doing is going, all right, how drawn are people to, downloading a report versus just checking out? Like there's the text is there, but this is definitely a stronger call to action for download. So let's go and do a little bit more. 2022 online college students report. I'm seeing some maybe differences in the imagery as well. So they're doing A/B testing. So pay attention, especially when you see A/B test, to like the language they're using on the ad copy and what the kind of call to action is. And then when you kind of click through, that's when you get into the kind of marketing funnel. So really quick recap. So this is the, let's go here. So ad copy, right? Pretty simple. Look at what the ad is saying. You might find some great insights on how they're communicating their offer that you've never thought about. Oh, that's a good idea. And you get into marketing funnels. So like these folks here, I know that they're doing download the report. And if you're not doing anything like that, period, you might go, oh, these guys are in my space. They're paying a lot of money for a download the report. It's gated content. Maybe we should create a report. Maybe this is something a route we should go. Or you might find, let's see what else. What are these guys doing? So another download your report. Let's just kind of open a couple apps here. Please get the guide. So that's another download. Let's see that. Download the workbook. Lots of downloads here. Download the free ebook. Another free ebook. Another free ebook. So it's pretty common call to action for LinkedIn ads. So you might find that they're doing an event, or there might be a lead form for a call or a demo. So when you're going through your competitors' ads and you're clicking through those ads and you're going, all right, they're doing these kinds of ads with this kind of call to action. And then once you get to the destination, this is a sort of funnel. Maybe it's an event funnel, a download a book funnel, or whatever. You can use that to maybe save yourself a ton of time just trying to figure out from scratch what your marketing funnel should be. If your competitors have a little bit more money, they've gone through the trial and error, they've gone through market research, why start from scratch? So you can get some great insight on marketing funnel ideas there. Topics for content, very similar to what we already covered with ads. So you can go here to all. These guys don't have much going on, but these guys do. So if you're in this space, I would go like this and just see some of the content that they're posting. What you might find that this is like a great library of ideas for you for topics that you should be talking about, but you never were. Don't be a copycat, right? But as far as ideas for what to talk about, go for it. There's probably more than enough business to go around. So you can go through here and just get some talking points ideas like, oh, this is a good idea. Oh, that's a good idea. Oh, that's a good idea. So you can definitely get ideas for organic content. And you can use that obviously on LinkedIn, but you can use it wherever else as well. You can use it on your website, right? You can use it on Facebook. You could use it wherever. So very helpful there. Strategic hires. If, for example, like if I'm a competitor to startup.com and I've got 5 employees and I'm just starting to build out my senior leadership team, I might be thinking, okay, I'm the founder, I'm the owner, I'm so busy, I'm needing to offload these things. Like I'm not quite sure who to bring on board. Maybe I'll ask a business coach or my friends or whatever. You could also just go to people and take a look at the employees who are on their team. And let's see here, you know what, it's not going to be as easy to find from the actual company page. So you might want to do this. Let's do startups.com. And let's go here and go to company search. Oh, actually, let's do people search. People. all filters, company. This is a lot easier in Sales Nav, but I know a lot of folks don't have Sales Nav. This is the company name, startups.com. So we can go like this. Here's the founder. So they've brought on a COO, director of code. Oh, that's interesting. They've got a CTO. So this could be a really good way for you to look at their senior leadership team or whoever, just to get an idea for, like, if they're paying money on people with a specific role and they're a little farther ahead of you, that's really good information for you to have, especially if you're growing and needing to hire. So last one here before we go into panelist discussion, public leadership activity. So since we're already here on startups.com, let's just look at, what is Ryan doing on LinkedIn? And let's see if his COO is doing anything. So Ryan, he's engaging on what's going on the company page. He is in Guatemala. Interesting. Looks like he's got a lot of stuff going on. So let's see what he's been saying. Show all activity. What is the leadership? What's the leader of a company in my space who's a little farther along? What's their leader saying? What's their leader saying publicly? What they're saying publicly is going to be associated with their sales initiatives, their marketing initiatives, their brand persona, like all of that stuff. If they're a little farther along, look to what the leaders are saying publicly, and then be thinking to yourself, oh, I should keep this at the forefront of my mind. Maybe I should be leading my team this way. Maybe I should be, as the founder, leading my brand publicly in this way. Maybe I should be setting the tone for our brand cadence persona and leveraging my network for X, Y, and Z for our company. And if they're doing this, it's probably worth their time and effort. So it'll probably be worth yours too as a business owner and founder. So public leadership activity. All right, what I'm going to do is get off my soapbox and open it up for panelist discussion. I'll stop sharing screen, but what I would really like to hear from panelists before we do open Q&A, I would love to know what kind of information you look at from either your competitors, could even be us, or just when you're working with a client, like someone who's a little bit larger or on the same page, getting ideas. What kind of information are you looking for? And then how do you find it on LinkedIn? If you're a panelist, you know who you are. The floor is yours.
Isaac, you didn't mention anything about profiles or headlines or anything like that. This was all about ads and stuff in that category. Yeah. I look at a lot of what other people do in their headlines, because that's the thing that represents you the most, and their background images and their photos and stuff. Quite frankly, it's more basic than what you described. Although you did a really great job on that.
Isaac, what I've been doing is I use that tool in the company page. If you're an admin, you can set up, you can list some competitor companies, and then I use it to benchmark. And I benchmark things like, how much they're posting, what their follower count is, what the follower growth is. Then I look at, I add additional data, which is like how many employees they have and how active the employees are in terms of doing the advocacy. So it's a built-in tool. If you're a page administrator, you can, set up the companies, you can kind of see where they're doing, and then it's a good thing to benchmark.
That's a great.
You know what I'm talking about?
I do know what you're talking about. Yeah. So
yeah.
Mike and Judy, those are both great points. Judy, do you want to share your screen as page admin, or is that information private?
No.
It's okay.
Let me hold on a second. Let me get out of the 16 windows that I have open.
I think a lot of folks that are page admins have never explored that because it's not really prominent in the nav menu, but I agree it can be very helpful.
Grab a screenerino here. Hold on. Oh my gosh, my desktop is a disgrace. Here we go. Okay, so here's one of the pages that I manage. And so what you can do here is in the analytics, right here it says competitors. So when you click on competitors, you list the companies that you want to keep an eye on. So in this case, when we started this, we're still pretty small relative to some of these other companies, but you can see this is their follower count. This is their new followers. Now I keep a spreadsheet of this so I can see, and obviously you can change the dates and all that, if you want to look at that. So that's one metric. Then the other one is the total engagements. These are the people that are engaged, and these are the amount of posts that are going out, again, based on that time period. And then what I do is in the Google Sheet that I have, I add additional columns for employees connected to the company page. So if you look here, and you see, okay, they have the amount of employees they have on LinkedIn, that's a big deal. And then I'll look at those employees, or I'll look at who's posting and engaging on the page, just to get a benchmark to say, okay, they have a group of advocates, what do you call it, ambassadors, brand ambassadors, or something like that. But it's built in.
Yep.
It's pretty cool to if you click on any of these, like here, you can click on it and it gives you the information. Any of this, it tells you the total engagements. And again, I'm not sure if that's like aggregated. I guess it applies to the dates, so we all know how that data is for LinkedIn. But again, if you look at it like this, yeah, it gives you a little bit better snapshot there.
Judy, that made me think of something too. So when you're looking at a competing company's material that they're sharing either from the company page or their individual staff, from their personal profile, LinkedIn, I didn't even think about this. It's like, duh. LinkedIn tells you how many reactions and comments it got. You can just see what really took off. Like, you don't have to be a page admin to see what has taken off and what performed well. You can get that from the just public data if you want to know kind of what to focus on. That's a good idea.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm not sure what the export is. Knowing LinkedIn, it's not going to be a lot of data. It's probably just going to be the names. But you can add, I think, up to 9 competitors. So it's you plus 9. And yeah, it's just a good little tool that's built in there. Not a lot of people know about that.
Yep.
Or use it. So, it's good for benchmarking. So
That's great. Thank you, Judy.
Awesome.
Anybody else, panelists, give it about 5 more minutes. Anybody here for your own competitors or working with clients? Anything that you are looking for, and where do you find it on LinkedIn?
This is a Google alert. I'll ask my lawyer clients, law firms, I'll ask them, who typically within your geographical location are your competitors. They know best who their competitors are. And then I'll just immediately put a Google alert on them. And then I accumulate that information into and track that. And that's well beyond LinkedIn, obviously, but it's as simple as that for me. But Judy, I like what you were doing from the company page. So.
Product reviews are something we didn't talk about as well. I think none of the companies that I was looking at, I don't think any of them had product. Let's do this though. Let's look for, let's see, I know HubSpot has it. If you have a product and you're wanting to know, what is important to your customers. Here we go. Here's the product page. So Viveka, you're talking about like Google aggregation stuff, Google review, anywhere there's a review, basically. But you can do HubSpot CRM. Definitely grab information like this from wherever you can. And if you have a product, and we just didn't dig into this before, but HubSpot CRM is a product. And then we've got some media. Where are did they take away the reviews? That's interesting. Let's see. There used to be a review section. It looks like they removed it. I'm very surprised to see that. That's news to me. So anyways, you used to be able to give it a review and there was a star aggregation, and it looks like that's recently gone away. But so never mind on the reviews piece, but you can, I suppose, dig through there. All right.
Isaac, can you show where to add a product on a company page? I'm not aware. I wasn't aware of that.
Before you do that, I was just going to say, if you guys want to see the chart that I made, which has additional data points, let me just grab it and give you a quick look. See, so this is what I was. Where am I? This is what I was tracking. So I had their page, what their logo was, the size of their team, their average weekly post frequency based on 12 months, the total engagement for the year, the total posts for the year, the engagement rate, the number of followers, their growth year over year. So obviously the deeper gold was the higher points, but it was just kind of looking at, okay, like this particular company, they're going, they're rating high marks across the board. So is this one. Obviously, they've got 253 people there, but it's just a way to go a little bit deeper so you can see, you know, if you are tracking team and company visibility. So there you
Yeah.
have it.
That's awesome.
Okay, carry on.
Anyone else have any panelists, any other ideas on, you know, information that you're looking for on LinkedIn, and then where to find it to glean insights from your competitors? And if it's 2 crickets, we'll move into open Q&A. All right, open Q&A it is. So if you want to do this, if you're brave enough to do the raise your hand on Zoom, we'll bring you on live. Try to keep it under 30 seconds so we can do the answers. And then Monty, did you see anything in the chat for the all caps question? Anybody ask anything? In that?
Well, one question was, should you monitor the hashtags used in their posts? That was from Nawab. So
that's not my wheelhouse, really. What do you think?
I would. I mean, if they are, it wouldn't take much to do. If your competitors are posting content on a regular basis out there, be super easy to check out their hashtags. You really only care about ones that have high volume though. So
yeah.
And typically the rule for hashtags is the more general the word, the higher the volume. So sales as opposed to sales enablement. Sales is going to have a much higher volume. So
yeah, cool. Vitali, you are up.
All right. I actually have one other strategy, and that's follow your competitor's network. And I mean, you guys all know about it. You can go in Sales Navigator, type in their name, and just and if they have a really nice network, you can just say, well, okay, who is in the second and third connections to their network, and you go invite their people.
That is absolutely true. And then let's see if I can see here. I'll try to pull up an example. You know what? That's pretty basic. That's a great point, Vitali. So
I think that's a really great point as well. Looking at someone else's network, if they don't have it shut down, for ideas, I think that's a really good one, Vitali. I do.
I mean, very early in the game, this is how I build my network, because I mean, I'm an executive consultant, and so I just go to other executive consultants and see who they're following. Right. And like, I mean, if they're successful, why would I reinvent the wheel?
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little late to the party this morning. Sorry, I was on a sales call, but I don't know if you discussed this. Forgive me if you have. One of the things I would do is when you go to the company page and you're looking at the people, look at the business development people and go look at their personal profile content themselves, right? Because if you've got a larger number of salespeople, it's good to see who's involved in LinkedIn and what they're actually posting, because that can provide you a lot of insight into the company as well, how active they are on the platform and pursuing clients on the platform.
Yeah, that's a great point. Absolutely. Especially sales and marketing tend to be the kind of at the front lines with communicating your message and your offer. And sometimes they honestly might have better language to describe what you do than the like official, you know, PDF that goes out, just because they're talking to clients and leads all day. It's a great point.
Plus, if you're wanting to hire, and if you're looking for some really solid salespeople, go find the ones that are really active on LinkedIn.
All right, Jim Siegler, you are up. 30 seconds or less, please.
Yeah, and I'm not sure who to address this question to. It came up on hashtags. Is there a way, well, first of all, is there a good place to go to find the best hashtags to use on LinkedIn, A? And B, if people are coming looking at content you're posting and you're adding hashtags, is there a way to find out if they came to that posting through a hashtag?
Panelists, anybody want to take that?
You're not going to know if they came to the post through a hashtag. That they don't give you that.
So there's no way to tell which hashtag is the most effective. If you put 5 hashtags on a post, is there a way to tell which one is the most effective of the 5?
I'll tell you with hashtags, only the first 3 show up in the URL. So that implies that those are indexed. And I think that also I was told if you do the capitalization, that kind of messes it up. So keep it all lowercase, but I don't know how to tell which one is effective unless you're actually tracking it.
Okay.
But I've
Yeah,
also
easy way.
I use 5 hashtags and they show up on all 5 hashtags. So you're not gonna know which ones they came from, but general rule, pick ones that have a high volume. If you want to find which hashtags that have a high volume, just Google it, because there's a lot of people who have put out lists and stuff like that of hashtags. So that's probably the easiest way, just to find people that are cataloging them, honestly.
Okay, thanks.
Good question. Anybody else have any other questions for everyone? I'd love to keep it on topic. What information are you looking for from your competitors in a white hat way that you could find possibly on LinkedIn? Any questions on that? Questions or things that you've done that we have not talked about yet?
I actually have looked to see who my competitors are, their salespeople are connected to, and see if they have any people in their network who should be in mine.
Yeah.
And I actually send out an invite, a personal invite to them to try to get them to join my network.
Yep, that's a great idea, Jim. Anybody else have any other questions? My trackpad battery just died, so I cannot end the meeting for another minute.
Oh gosh. Hey, I have a if you're interested, I know you're always looking for topics and stuff. I've been doing a lot of research on LinkedIn newsletters, and I'd love to do a presentation to the group.
Ooh.
Weeks.
You
Yeah.
know,
And I did a whole
Judy,
survey
yeah, that sounds.
on all the LinkedIn newsletters, LinkedIn expert newsletters. Yeah.
That's a great point, actually, for 2 reasons, Judy. Number one, yeah, let's shoot me a message after this. Number 2, that would be just like another content resource to look at to see if they're, a subscriber. When you've got the newsletters, you've got subscribers, it's a little bit more important that what goes out is right on point. And so since the newsletters are publicly, readable, you don't have to be subscribed to read them. That's probably a great place to get some ideas for what matters to their target audience, if it's your target audience, and some of the things to talk about, some of the language to use. That's a really, really good idea.
Yeah, plus it's the way you're notified. It's pretty cool, the way you show up in the notification feed, and then you get an email if your settings are adjusted. Yeah, and then I have a checklist on how to get started, because I did it the wrong way and I had to wait 30 days to do it again.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd be happy to do that. I'll DM you.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
Vitaly, you're up.
Okay, I'll ask a question, tricky one. How do if I have a competitor and I want to find out who their clients are, how do I find that from LinkedIn?
Ooh, I think, as it pertains to LinkedIn, all you could really do is see if they've posted that, like, hey, we're working with this company.
Now, like one of my competitors
like,
has 120,000 clients, right?
Wow. Yeah. I don't know that.
They're not even competitor. They're so far ahead that I forget it. But is there a way, any creative? I know there's obviously not a straightforward way.
Go look at their connections. Look at because connections, I think they only show 25 at a time or something. Look at their top 25 connections and just see if there's any names of companies that keep coming up in those connections. So I do that a lot.
Because their clients would follow them on LinkedIn. Eh?
Yeah, because usually one of the two, either I connect to the client and they accept it, or they connect to me and I accept it. So I always look at at least their first 25 connections and say, is there any trends of clients in here that aren't my clients today that I probably want to know about?
Okay, that's given they haven't masked their connections, right? Yeah.
So Vitaly, this is a little bit out of LinkedIn, but I've done this in the past for a company where it was like, I'm not sure what you're doing, if it would be appropriate, but like the company's product was a SaaS, and every customer had their own URL as a subdomain of a URL. And so we just did a Boolean search in Google that's like site URL equals whatever.com/this. And then we got like hundreds of results for all the subdomains that were there. And so if they had a subdomain, they were a current client. So.
Right. Okay. This man, no, I mean, it's a company that has a system worked out, whatever, a coaching system. So I can just look for everybody who mentioned that on Google. That would be hard work, because then you have to link it to LinkedIn somehow, right?
Yeah, totally.
Thanks.
Anybody else have any other questions? All right, I'll give it about 10 more seconds before we wrap it up. This is your last chance. All right. Oh, Dave O'Neill sneaking in right at the last second. Dave, you're up last. 30 seconds or less.
Yeah, it was just an observation. And like you said, Isaac, there could be a lot of footprints out on the internet. For example, companies may have groups that they form for their clients. Like you said about the SaaS thing, you could look it up that way, but you may be able to actually find out the membership within certain groups that relate to their clients. So there's a lot of footprints out there. There may even be financial footprints related to business that they do with your competitor.
That is a good point. One thing too, that's a great point. There are lots of other places. So to sort of summarize that, Dave, it's like if there's a group that is reflective of a specific brand. So like maybe a good example would be, just because I was on the page earlier, HubSpot Sales Pro, right? It's a product of HubSpot. And so if I was selling something and I wanted the comparable, I might see who's a member of that group. If there's a group for like HubSpot Sales Pro, that's a great idea. And you don't need to be a member of the group actually to know who's in the group. You can, if you have Sales Nav, that's a publicly searchable information, which is really nice there. Since you don't really want to talk to them, you can't send them a DM, send them an email, but you get the information free, which is great. Any other questions? Anything you want to share with the group before we button it up for the week? All right. Well, take what we learned here today, use it for good, not evil, grow faster, waste less money and time. And hopefully, Monty, we didn't shoot ourselves in the foot and make everyone here our future competitors. Just kidding.
Hopefully you didn't shoot us in the foot. I wasn't here.
Oh, yeah.